Hi, I'm Kaitlynn Doolittle from the Hudson Star Observer and the Western Wisconsin Journal, and today I'm in the zone, and joining with me is Eric Tostrud, the founder of Peloton4Parkinsons, to tell us more about his organization and the awesome work that he does. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
How are you
Thank you
doing
for coming.
today?
I'm great.
Cool. Can you just start off by telling me more about yourself and how you started Peloton4Parkinsons and just more of the work that you do?
Yeah, so well, I've been in fitness for 2008-ish. I did P90X way back in the day, if you're old enough to remember what P90X is. I did that. I was working at the bank across the road here, started getting fit. Friends reached out, hey, what are you doing? Long story short, ended up getting certified and kind of shifted gears from being a banker to a fitness person. My mom was diagnosed with Parkinson's, I believe around 2005. And in December of 2015, a bunch of people that I help with their health and fitness, that like a week and a half before Christmas, surprised me with a Peloton bike. And they invited me down to Pier 500, said, hey, we're having drinks. And they had this whole thing set up. It was very touching, very, very thoughtful and very moving. And they're like, here's this bike. And this was before Peloton had blown up, right? I'm like, this is great. And I have my little talk I did, my little speech on video, and I said, I don't know how, but I'm gonna figure out a way to pay this forward somehow. Fast forward to April 1st of 2016, so just a few months later, and I actually have the selfie somewhere here. I was walking my mom down to her car. My mom and dad come over for a visit. I was walking her down in the driveway, and I had seen that morning I saw on Facebook that it was Parkinson's Awareness Month. I saw a post from Michael J. Fox Foundation, and I thought that morning having coffee, I should do something for that. Didn't really give it a ton of thought. I should do something for that. And as I'm walking my mom down to her car, it was like one of those moments where like light bulb, lightning strikes, and I stop and I go, Mom, take a selfie with me. She's like, what, honey?
What's that?
And I take it, yeah. And I said, you know that bike those people gave me? She's like, yeah, kind of just agreeing like moms do. I said, I'm gonna ride I'm gonna take all the classes the last Friday of April, and I'm gonna raise money for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. She's like, that's nice, dear. And so that last Friday of April in 2016, my gym at the time was my house. I had third stall, my garage blocked off, and I had my Peloton bike and two other just generic spin bikes. And I took all their classes that day, and friends kind of came in shifts and rode with me, and it was just really impromptu and fun. And I put Facebook posts out, and the really neat thing was that first year, putting it out like, hey, here's what I'm doing, am I crazy? I had so many people from fitness community, Peloton community reach out to me and say, oh wow, my parent has Parkinson's. I have Parkinson's. My grandfather who passed away has Parkinson's. And I found all these people. I'm like, wow, this disease really affects a lot of people. So that first year we raised, I believe, like $5,000. Oh, wow, okay. Next year we did it in the garage again. Kind of same thing, just Facebook, riding on the Peloton. Raised 8 or something, I always forget the exact numbers. Third year, Peloton asked me to do it at their store in the Mall of America, which was really cool.
And
they flew bikes. And it was before they had it was kind of their kiosk store. And they said, hey, will you come do it here? And that was still before they had really blown up. I'm like, yeah. And so they brought in, I think we had 12 their bikes, and we raised like $23,000 that year. That was the last year my mom was there. So that was 2018. In 2019, that was when we started, Peloton started getting real big. And having conversations with them, they're like, if we do this for your chair, it's...
They do for others.
Yeah, they start, and I'm like, we've actually been thinking that we really want to start incorporating people who don't have a $3,000 spin bike. Love Peloton, but not everybody has it. I had to get mine given to me, or I wouldn't have had one. And so we wanted to kind of shift more towards the word Peloton actually means group of riders. Okay. I don't know if you know that, but
I did not know.
It's not just a company. If you watch like the Tour de France, they'll say the lead Peloton. It means group of bikers. So that's where we started to shift gears. And so in 2019, Matt and Mariah Fisher, who own Riverfront Athletic Club downtown, were gracious enough to let us have it down there, and we just had spin bikes. And then unfortunately, a week before the event in 2019, my mom passed away, which quite honestly, her quality of life was terrible. And our morbid joke, which she greatly appreciated, was that she died a week before our event on purpose, so we'd raise more money.
I'm not gonna laugh.
It's funny. It was my mom's sense of humor, and so that year we raised 50 grand or so. 2020 came about, COVID, right? Couldn't have it in April. And I remember talking to my wife on my birthday at the end of July, and I said, Sarah, I said, we're going to do this every year until there's a cure. I got to do it. Yeah. And so the end of August, bikes 6 feet apart, the whole thing, TCO, and John and JW at TCO were nice enough to let me use their giant turf areas. We had bikes spread all over the place.
Do what you gotta do.
Raised about 50 again. And really since then, it's really started to pick up. We started our Rock Steady boxing program that we'll talk more about. And 2021, oh boy, what did we raise? 60 or 70. 2022, I think was the first year we hit 100,000. And now this past year, the last 2 years, we've had it at Tattersall Distilling, if you're familiar with that, the old Shopco in River Falls. An awesome job. They take great care of us. We have the entire event down there. And this year, new record, we raised 158,000. Wow. So we're almost, I think we're just shy of $500,000 that we've raised.
In total.
Yeah, so for a combination of a lot of the money goes to Michael J. Fox Foundation, some stays here to support our local program, our Rock Steady boxing program. But it's turned into this thing.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, it's and it involves a ton of people and a ton of volunteers. And it's far from a one-man show anymore.
Yeah,
now
it takes a village for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So it's really become a really neat thing. And we just had it at the end of April.
Yeah, that's amazing. How do you prepare for an all-day ride? What kind of goes all into
From
that?
a training aspect?
Yes.
So the neat thing is we'll have, every year's a little different. Like we were missing probably 12 to 16 of kind of our regular all-day riders this year, but then we got new ones coming in, which was really cool. The training is more about, you have to obviously be semi-fit, right? You gotta be doing some cardio, you gotta be doing some biking. It's really more about your butt and sitting on I'm not kidding, and sitting on a bike for the better part of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. with some breaks. That's really the hardest part. So the fitness part, the spin seat isn't super comfortable. The neat thing is that we have, we'll have anywhere from 2 dozen to 4 dozen all-day riders, depending on the year. The neat thing is that, we'll have that many people riding all day, but then we have people who do one ride. People can sign up for one. People can do a half day. People can do an all day as a team where they all split a bike and there's 12 of them. They all take. So we've really expanded beyond everyone's got to ride all day with me,
right,
which has brought more people. This year I think we had around 300 people riding between in person, and then we also Zoom it out. I call it poor man's Peloton, where it's me and a bunch of the local people. We're not nearly as attractive and fit as the Peloton community, but we Zoom it out to people, and so it really opens it up to the people who aren't crazy enough to ride a spin bike for 12 hours.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, very, very, very cool. I couldn't imagine just the work that all goes into it. I didn't really think how much your bottom plays in.
It's the biggest part. Anytime anyone says, can I do it? I'm like, okay. Yep, you just come sit here and pedal with me about 3 times a week. You'll develop what you need to develop, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure. And like those all-day rides, at the end of April, raising the funds. But there's more work that you do outside of it. You were kind of telling me earlier about like Dopa Dream. Can you tell me more about how that all got started?
Dopa Dreams project is, within our charity. We take some of the funds to do this. It's really what amounts to a Make-A-Wish program for people in our Rock Steady boxing program, our health and fitness program. That it allows them to do something that may be a bucket list item that they thought they never could do. It came from my wife and I going to Elton John now, 3 years ago, on a whim. I turned to her, I said, Sarah, Elton John's in town. I've never seen him. He's getting old. We should go. And so we bought tickets last minute, went. The next morning I came into the gym and I had Rock Steady boxing. We just sit and chat and, while they're exercising. And I mentioned, boy, Sarah and I went and saw Elton John. It was so neat last night. And Jeff Lee, really my first Rock Steady boxer, he joined and another person, and then COVID happened, and so it shut down. So Jeff, which was great because he was our first one, Jeff says, God, I always loved loved Elton John. Listened to him all the time in the 70s when I was younger. Never saw him, always wanted to see him. And so when he says that, another light bulb moment, I'm like, I go home to my wife and say, Sarah, I got this idea. I say, make a wish. What if we took some of the funds that we raise here, the stuff that we raise to support our program locally and create a program, and we can have these people who work so hard fighting this disease, give them something fun to do that produces dopamine. When you have Parkinson's, you're lacking dopamine. When you go have fun and experience joy, that's dopamine. So my wife, being the smart, clever person she is, says, dope a dream. And she comes up with a little mission statement, and that's where it was born. So we sent, by the end of that week, I had 2 tickets to Elton John. We put a post out on Facebook, and I created a donation page on a software we use called Classy, classy.org. It's this great charity software. And I said, who wants to buy their gas to drive to Milwaukee? Who wants to buy them a beer at the concert? Who wants to buy a concert t-shirt? And let people kind of donate for what they, who wants to buy them dinner? And we ended up being able to give them tickets, give them a hotel room, use some of the funds we already had. And then people chipped in to basically cover all their expenses. So we gave them a Visa gift card for, I think it ended up being $800 or $1,000 bucks. And Jeff and his girlfriend got to go see Elton John. And the following year, now the program was established, we took Joan, who's one of our boxers, and her husband Will, took them to New York City with us to go to the Team Fox. It's called the Team Fox is the kind of the charity, like people who want to raise money for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. It's called Team Fox. We took Joan and Will to the Team Fox MVP weekend, and they got to have dinner and listen to speakers and learn about where the money goes for the research and what they're doing on research. So that was our second one. So we haven't done this year's yet. It's still
in the works.
It's still in the works. It's usually we were talking before. It's really come about organically. Like we have like a form and how they have to submit, but these first 2 have been very organic.
Yeah, through word of
Jeff
mouth.
Saying that and Joan saying, I've always wanted to go to New York City. So I've been kind of waiting for the inspiration to come. So we'll have to see what 2024 brings.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, I love that. And we already kind of talked about it already, but like Rocksteady Boxing and the Zone, can you tell me more about what Rocksteady Boxing is and why did you choose boxing for people with Parkinson's?
Yeah, so Rocksteady Boxing is a national program. So like I didn't make it up. It was actually an attorney in Ohio, I think Cleveland. I forget his name offhand, but this is early 2000s. He got diagnosed with Parkinson's. And back then, when you got diagnosed with Parkinson's, it was, here's your meds, prepare for life to suck, and go sit on your couch and become inactive, and that's really what happened. I believe he was pretty fit kind of workout guy. This happened, and he just, life sucks. His trainer, because he had done some boxing in the past, his trainer came to him and said, come on, let's go do some stuff, let's get you moving. It's not gonna hurt, right? And he started doing some things. Boxing, it's more than just boxing. It's fitness. Boxing's a component of it. But they started doing fitness and boxing and doing this and elevating his heart rate and the impact on the bag. And his symptoms, it's not curing anything. His symptoms, stopped progressing as fast as they were, and he started feeling better. Things got better. Life got better. His symptoms got better. They didn't progress as fast. And so they went as far as to go, hey, wait a minute. If this is helping me, it might help somebody else. And they did all the scientific studies, and this is years in the making, where then they developed Rocksteady Boxing. And so there are Rocksteady Boxing programs all over the country. Hundreds of them. And you pay to go get certified. I flew to Ohio, and I have to get certified, and then I box people here locally. We just had another, Melissa, a new coach joining us that just got certified a couple weeks ago. So you get certified in it, and it's really a program of, we do a lot of cardio, we do some strength training, we'll do balance. Remember when you were a kid and you'd play the floor's lava and you'd get the couch cushions out? We do stuff like that with things in here because they're working on their balance. We'll, while they're boxing, I'll ask them questions, or we'll do math round. Like a round will be a math round, and if you're over here punching, I'll say, okay, what's 4 times 4 minus 2? 14, and they have to punch 14 times. So it's keeping their mind sharp and the fitness component and elevating their heart rate and slow it down. So there's a lot that goes into it, but it gives them the health and fitness program they need to help deal with their symptoms. And almost more importantly to me and what they tell me, the community, you know, if you have this crappy disease and you sit at home by yourself, that's rough. If you walk in here and you have 12, 13, 14, 15 other people, like, yeah, I couldn't sleep last night either. Yeah, they just changed my meds, you know, because with a disease like that, your meds are getting changed and they're having to up the medication they give you. To have a community and a support group like that, it's almost more important than the workout, you know, or at least as important as the workout. So that's, you know, that's what we do.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how is this work that you do with Peloton and with the boxing and with Dope a Dream, what's really rewarding for you? What's like a highlight with this work?
Well, it's, for me personally, I never got to do this with my mom. I have one video of kind of boxing with my mom. We showed our event every year, and I kind of, have you seen Rocky? Mickey, the trainer, and he's, come on, Rock! And I have this video, and I'm kind of talking like Mickey. That was the extent of really what I got to do with my mom, because by the time I got into this, her disease had progressed so far, she wasn't able to do it much. She rode with us a couple years, which was awesome, and just, I cherish it. But the fact that maybe I couldn't help my mom, but I can help all these other people. And I saw, here's what this disease did to this person I love. That sucked. That made me, really, this came from being angry that my mom, who's a very healthy person, had to deal with that. Anger has power. Frustration has power. Taking it, put it into, instead of just being mad at the world, putting it into something positive, and now affecting people where they tell me, boy, if I didn't have this program. You know, a couple of them got up and spoke at our event the end of April. And to hear them say, I don't know where I'd be without this. And one of our boxers about 2 months ago had a pretty big health scare. He's like, I don't think I would have made it through if I didn't come and do this work and my heart wasn't strong enough and my lungs weren't strong enough to deal with this. I mean, that's about as rewarding. That's about as rewarding as it gets. So,
yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that's amazing. But yeah, so what else is in store? Or is there anything that you're currently working on, or any goals that you'd like to achieve in the near future?
Yeah, we've had conversations about expanding. I look at Parkinson's, and it's always going to be kind of my main thing, right? But at the same time, as a charity grows and it becomes more successful, and you raise more money, and you have more people wanting to help. I've been looking at, okay, you have the Parkinson's community, who's a community that, you know, isn't as well served as it could be when it comes to health and fitness, right? So we have this Rock Steady boxing program. What other demographics in our community need health and fitness support? Special needs program, more geriatric programs, you know, so someone who's older that doesn't have Parkinson's, which we've had, and wants to come and work out. You know, I've been usually, hey, you know, just come with them for a couple, but you know, really Rock Steady is for people with Parkinson's. To have a program for older people who are looking for kind of a smaller community support that don't have Parkinson's. You know, special needs adults. I have a very good friend who's a coach here, Lisa Rambo, who shared with me a few months ago, the obesity rate for someone with Down syndrome as an adult is like 98%. That's sad. So I would like to expand into other areas in the community that maybe don't have the health and fitness programs that they need. I can't do it all, so that's where anyone who's like, I want to help with that, reach out to me. And I've had some conversations. You know, I shared with you, we just moved into this space 2 months ago while our event was getting geared up. So now everything's over. So now I can start working on that stuff. But
on to the next.
So that's a really big goal, is to really, you know, grow the Rock Steady boxing program and make sure everyone with Parkinson's within this, you know, 25 to 50 mile radius knows it's here. And a lot of the other great support that's around here. There's a Big and Loud program in River Falls at the hospital. There's a ton of support. And I feel like a lot of times when people get diagnosed with a disease like Parkinson's, they'll isolate. They'll crawl into their hole. They'll isolate. And it's like, it's the worst thing you could do. You know, and a family member might have to drag them in here. You know, we've had that where they're like, come on, honey. And I'll see and I'll say, the spouse wants them to be here. They do not want to be here. And we try and make them as comfortable as we can. We show them this isn't, we don't take ourselves too seriously. I try not to treat them any different than I treat someone who's coming in here for our regular general population classes, and we try to have fun and make them laugh.
Yeah, and try not to
and sweat a little.
Yeah, I try not to make the gym as it's not an intimidating, scary place.
And that's our biggest thing with here is the non-intimidating aspect of what we do. I've worked really hard to keep everything we do in here, because gyms can be intimidating. You know, there's great gyms around here. There's tons of great gyms. My focus is make it as less intimidating as possible.
Yeah, like inclusive.
So,
and
especially when someone's dealing with the disease and they're already, you know, maybe a little shaky, a little wobbly, their balance isn't good. We want them to walk in and feel comfortable and feel supported.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time. I
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
no problem.
So,
It's great to chat with you.
Of course, of course. Well, I'm Kaitlynn Doolittle, and this has been Western Wisconsin Journal.